Hey everybody, it's Florentine Yu-Gi-Oh! Here once again. Upon request of a viewer, I am doing the updated Valtor deck profile, since he did use some new cards in the newest episode of Revelations of the Seal of Orichalcos. So, yeah, Valtor, Revelations of the Seal of Orichalcos, created by Dead Soldier Inc., Dead Soldier Productions. Links to them will be in the description. Huge shout out goes to them for just the general awesomeness of this deck, and then probably the thumbnail, and just, yeah, all general just awesomeness, credit for that going to them. And so upon request of a viewer, I am doing the updated Valtor deck. Like I said, Valtor is the main antagonist of Revelations of the Seal of Orichalcos. He uses an Orichalcos deck that's actually way stronger than the one I used for the Orichalcos Challenge. And speaking of the Orichalcos Challenge, this is actually going to be a sub-series of the Orichalcos Challenge, where it'll basically, it's like, if you want to fight my main deck or the Valtor deck, you will have the option to do so. I don't recommend fighting the Valtor deck if you have the choice. Anyway, without further ado, I think it's time to get into the deck. So we have the clay statue of the Underworld and Dark Hide. This is basically his first Orichalcos Gygus, kind of ripping off Orichalcos Gygus and Orichalcos Cutora from the original Orichalcos cards. Except clay statue is actually way stronger than Gygus, because whenever he's destroyed or sent from the field to the graveyard, he just comes right on back with 500 extra attack. And in addition to dealing absorbing battle damage, Dark Hide can also absorb effect damage as well. So these are just good walls to have until you draw into your really juicy stuff, like your God cards. The Winged Dragon of Ra, obviously when I played this version, with this deck, I'm using the full-blown effects of this card from the show. So it's got the Phoenix mode and all that good stuff. It's got the ancient text written on it that you got to recite in order to gain control of it. And yeah, just all around awesome stuff. And then we have Slifer the Sky Dragon. No Obelisk the Tormentor yet, but we all know Travis is going down, and Obelisk will soon be in the hands of its rightful owner, Valtor. So, but yeah, Slifer the Sky Dragon, same as Ra, just use the full-blown effects from the show. As if they are needed, but they are there. Next up, we have his... As Valtor got stronger with the seal, his monsters got stronger as well. So now we have Clay Statue of the Orichalcos, which is Clay Statue of the Underworld on Clay Statue of the Underworld on steroids, where if this thing just gets removed from the field by anything, no matter where it goes, special summon it back, gains 500 attack times the number of times it's summoned by its own effect. So banish, nope. Destroy, nope. I think even return to deck. Nope. He just does not go away. Sorry for the stutter there. Also, when this thing is summoned, you get to summon a Stone Statue of the Orichalcos from your hand or deck. And what Stone Statue does is, when your opponent would attack, you can pay 1,000 life points to redirect the attack to Stone Statue. Stone Statue cannot be destroyed by battle. And when Stone Statue is summoned, you summon Bone Statue of the Orichalcos. So, and how Bone Statue works, and I think Bone Statue is actually more busted than Clay Statue, because anytime your life points would decrease by any way, he gains 500 attack instead. So you can keep ramming with Bone Statue, paying to reflect attacks with Stone Statue, and this thing also will just keep getting stronger, because it doesn't matter what kind of decrease it is in your life points, this thing just gains 500 attack off of it instead. Paying life points, you don't pay the cost, but you get the effect, and this thing gets stronger. Soul Charge and Solemn Judgment, cards like that, and just basically anything that requires you to pay life points just becomes immediately that more broken with Bone Statue of the Orichalcos. And then when Bone Statue of the Orichalcos is summoned, you can actually summon a different statue monster, or you can search the fourth statue, which is actually a trap card, which we'll get into later. So I'm going to leave these to the side when we're ready to talk about that. Anyway, the next monster he runs a 3 of is Orichalcos Apparatus. I am doing a little kind of a rule set with this deck, is that There's no ban list, but I'm not running stuff like Triple Pot of Greed because honestly he doesn't need it. And I have to play at least one of every custom card he used throughout the show. So that's the rule set when I'm going into deck building with this. But anyway, Orichalcos Apparatus is a Dark Warrior level 4 with 2,000 attack and defense. Just imagine that in legit Yu-Gi-Oh! But the effect gets even better. So when this thing is on the field and your opponent activates a card or effect on their side of the field, change the defense, negate the card or effect, and then special summon another apparatus from hand or deck in attack position. And it's not once per turn. And summoning an apparatus is not a necessary condition to negate. So make of that what you will. Just 3 free negates, 3 free 2,000 defenders and beaters. Great. Then we have a new card. The Orichalcos Automaton seen in episode 39. This thing is also insane because when it's summoned, you summon the other 2 from deck. And then if it's the first turn of the duel and you have the Seal of Orichalcos on the field, you can attack. So you just deal 3,000 to your opponent right there if Orichalcos is in play. Like before they even get a turn. Lovely. And that's not all this thing does. At the end of the turn, if these are on the field, they go back to your deck. And then you get to search an Orichalcos card for each of these that is not Orichalcos Automaton. That is just diabolical, and I love it. Then something that's even more diabolical, and I love even more, we have Orichalcos Stellaverum. I know he only used 2 in the show, but why would this not be a 3 of? I mean, come on. This thing is a Cyframe Gear Gamma on crack. So, when your opponent activates any type of card or effect, special summon it from your hand. So, it's, like I said, it's Gamma on crack. Negate that card or effect, and then for the rest of this turn, if this card is special summoned to the field by any way, your Orichalcos named cards become unaffected by card effects for the rest of that turn. It just hard punishes your opponent for doing anything, basically. Like I said, Valtor basically said life is not fair, and his deck is a huge reflection of that. So, yeah. Orichalcos Stellaverum, very good hand trap for the deck. Then we have some cards that I wasn't able to fully decipher until I gave them a closer inspection. Just because they were kind of cut off or obscured in the episode that they were shown. But we have 2 Orichalcos Wandering Spirit and 2 Orichalcos Militus. So Wandering Spirit is a flip monster where you can flip, where if it's flipped, you target a card on the field and banish it. If it is summoned in any way, you special summon Orichalcos Stellaverum from your deck, so it gives you extra protection for your plays, which is awesome. And then it can't be destroyed by battle, and all battle damage you take involving it is 0. And then we have Orichalcos Militus, which is a level 4 Dark Warrior tuner with 2,000 attack and defense because, you know, life's not fair. When this card is summoned, you can add an Orichalcos named card from your deck to your hand. If this card is in your graveyard when your opponent declares an attack, you can special summon this card from your graveyard, but you can only in defense position. That effect can only be used once per turn, however, but it's still really freaking good even for a once per turn. So, and these 2 cards actually have another very important utility that will be explained when one of the spells comes up. Speaking of spell cards, that is all the monsters. So now we have the card behind it all, the Seal of Orichalcos. No, just kidding. This isn't darts. This is Valtor. The Seal of Orichalcos. I basically don't have to explain what this thing does. Y'all know what it's for, what it does, how it steals your soul when you lose the game. Yeah, it's all in there. It's all good. Full-blown effect from Revelations of the Seal of Orichalcos. Then it is now confirmed Valtor has Orichalcos Deuteros, and Orichalcos Tridos. If you watch my other Orichalcos videos on my main Orichalcos challenge deck, you already know what these do. Then, this is kind of in the part where I said there's no ban list, and this is really the only card that defies it, is just 3 copies of Terraforming, because you want to get the Seal of Orichalcos as soon as possible to be able to ram in with those automatons turn 1. It also gives some of your other spells and traps, like extra negation proof and things like that, where needed. So, yeah, there's Terraforming to search Seal of Orichalcos, basically. Then, one of the other more broken spells in Valtor's deck is Orichalcos Bone Towers. This is basically, you open this, you win, essentially. Now, when you activate this card, it gets 2 counters, and then during each of your standby phases, it gets 2 more, up to a maximum of 6. So, with 2 counters, you can activate its effect to send your opponent's entire hand to the graveyard, and then burn them for 200 per card. That's minusing your opponent their entire hand, and 5 if you play this, and obviously dealing 1,000 damage. If you activate this on your first, if you're going first, you activate this on your first go. You should have already won by that point, just because you're already sending them back. The first effect is a delinquent duo on steroids, and then the second effect lets you destroy all other cards on the field when you have 4 counters, and then with 6 counters, you can send this face-up card from your side of the field to the graveyard, special summon any monster from your deck, ignoring summoning conditions, and I do mean ignoring summoning conditions, like not having to properly special summon it first, type of ignoring summoning conditions, and then each effect can only be activated once while it's face-up on the field, but you're gonna win you're gonna win, like, if you even just resolve the first effect. Like, it's that good. Then we have some basic search. We have Covenant of the Orichalcos. This lets you search your entire deck, basically. Just once per turn, pay 1,000. Search an Orichalcos named card from your deck to your hand. Very good basic search card. Then we have Orichalcos Amalgamation. This is a fusion spell where you, obviously you can fuse Orichalcos monsters together. However, this one lets you fuse from your main deck to the graveyard or your hand or your field, so it's a shit-all fusion. And then, if this thing is in your graveyard and the appropriate fusion material monsters are also in the graveyard, you can banish them all from the graveyard to fusion summon that way. So this thing is a miracle fusion and a shit-all fusion in one. This is just, it's so good. What's not to like? They have Orichalcos Altar, one of the more simpler and most underused cards in the deck, because this thing just lets you get unlimited tribute summons when Seal of Orichalcos is on the field. However, there's only 2 tribute monsters in the deck right now, Ra and Slifer. Then we have, oh boy, you didn't think this was going to be in the deck. We have Orichalcos Sorcery Magnus. Let's see, where to start with that wall of text. So, this thing cannot be negated or responded to when you have Seal of Orichalcos in play. Then you special summon 2 Orichalcos monsters from your deck, hand, or graveyard with the same level, and one has to be a tuner, one has to be a non-tuner. Then you use those 2 monsters in a triple special summon, where they are used for a fusion, synchro, and exceed summon once each. Special summons one of each of those kinds of monsters, respectively. And then after that, the 2 monsters initially summoned by this effect, the tuner and the non-tuner, get attached to the Xyz monsters' Xyz materials. And these special summons are treated as 1 fusion, 1 synchro, and 1 Xyz summon, respectively. And you may be thinking, but Cal and Florentine, you can't use that in Master Rule 4. You have to use the extra monster zones. You'd only be able to summon once unless you had link pointers. I errated this card so that it doesn't need that crap. Yeah, I thought I had with this one, because obviously Revelations doesn't play by link rules, so why should I in the actual game? Like I said, I just errata it so they go straight to the main monster zone. Because Like, who wants to play with those lame-ass blue cards anyway? So, yeah, Orichalcos Sorcery Magnus is basically a one-card OTK, essentially. Then for more character deck shenanigans, we have Greed is good, Pot of Greed, just generic stuff for character decks. Then we have Monster Reborn. Valtor doesn't really need Pot of Greed, it's just in here because it's a generic character deck card. But Monster Reborn, not so much as generic. Well, it is a generic character deck card, but the other reason it's in here is because of the Winged Dragon of Ra. Being able to utilize all of its effects, you know. When it's special summon from the graveyard, you get the Phoenix formation mode and all that stuff. So that's pretty nice. And that is all the spell cards in the deck currently. Now we have the traps. We have Attack Guidance Armor. When your opponent monster declares an attack, redirect the attack to any other monster on the field, even one of their monsters. So that's pretty good. Kind of obsolete with other cards in the deck, but that you'll soon see. However, it was used by Valtor, so it's got to be in here. Then we have a Threatening Roar. I guess it's just here in case you need it, in case you brick. I don't know how you brick with this deck, but I guess maybe if you draw Deuteros, Tridos, and 2 God cards and like nothing else good, you can potentially stall for a turn, but that's about it. It's the only situation I see. Then we have, I'm going to bring these guys back now, because we have Orichalcos Bronze Guard. This is the trap that you want to search with Bone Statue when it's summoned, because this is essentially the 4th statue of the Orichalcos. So you search this, set it. When your statue monsters would be affected by an effect, you flip this up, they become unaffected by that effect. Then this thing gets special summoned as a monster exclusively, like no matter where it goes after it's summoned, it's still a monster with the following effect. Its name becomes Bronze Statue of the Orichalcos, so like I said, this is the 4th statue. And your Orichalcos named monsters are unaffected by card effects while it's on the field, including itself. So that's just crazy. Like, he already has Stella Varum, but he also has this for just full effect immunity. Like, why? Then we have Stumbling in the Dark. It's not an Orichalcos custom card, but it is a custom card nonetheless, where when your opponent declares an attack, you can negate the attack and then end the battle phase. Then you can banish a monster from your graveyard to special summon tokens up to that monster's level. And even if you don't have enough room for all the tokens, you can destroy monsters you control to summon tokens in their place. Really good when you can have 10 tokens on the field with the Seal of Orichalcos giving you that extra back row of monsters. Then we have Orichalcos Refaro, which is basically a continuous attack guidance armor, but it does require Seal of Orichalcos in play. You can, when you control an Orichalcos field spell and your opponent's monster declares an attack, you can change the attack target to any other monster on any side of the field or one opponent player if they have no monsters. Really good. And that is the 40-card main deck for Valtor so far, anyway. For his extra deck, we have Orichalcos Moss Igneous. Usually formed by the fusion of 3 apparatus, this thing gains 400 attack times the number of cards on the field, and he can also negate traps when he attacks, so that's really nice. Then we have Orichalcos Ophidia. You usually make this by overlaying all the statues, because it gains 1,000 attack for each Xyz material attached to it. It also gains the effects of all the monsters attached to it, so all those statue effects go onto this guy. Then you can tribute 2 monsters, and then this card gains attack equal to the monster on the field with the highest attack, except itself, plus 500. And then he Flame Wingmans whatever he kills. So that card does a lot. And Orichalcos Ophidia isn't even the ace monster of the deck. In fact, we don't really know what is yet. Valtor seems to have several boss monsters. And here are more of them. We have Orichalcos Athletitos, Orichalcos Magna Draco, and Orichalcos Grand Opus Dragon. You didn't think these would be in the deck, but they are. Their effects are not fully confirmed, but I do have enough of them deciphered just to be able to play them as like a 1-card OTK with Sorcery Magnus. So, Orichalcos Athletitos, The only effect I have for it is that when all three of these cards they all have the same effect, where if all three of these cards are summoned simultaneously, which the only way to do so is through Sorcery Magnus, you get to search Orichalcos Deuteros and Orichalcos Tritos from your deck to your hand. Orichalcos Magna Draco is the only one that has another known effect, where basically whenever he destroys a monster by battle, he gets to attack again. He's a BLS on steroids. And then Grand Opus Dragon is another unknown effect other than searching Orichalcos, Deuteros, and Tritos when all of these are present on the field. So yeah, that is Valtor's new updated Orichalcos deck for my I guess Valtor Revelations challenge. So anyway, we hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a thumbs up if you liked it, and if you like Revelations of the Seal of Orichalcos in general. Like I said, shout out to Dead Soldier Inc. Comment, tell me what you thought. Subscribe if you're new. And this is Florentine Yu-Gi-Oh! I hope you enjoyed watching this. I thank you for watching this, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.